So the city, as I mentioned, for the past 24 months has gone through a lot of change. Leadership change, process change, internal systems and procedure change, and they've not all been good. The impact may have only been small for each one of those, but cumulatively, this place was depressing. It was psychologically unsafe. It was also very hard for anybody to do the job that they needed to do. When you have an environment like that, you have a high turnover of staff, you have a lot of intellectual knowledge that walks out the door, and that makes life for everybody harder. We had indicators, let's call them indicators, in several, if not all, of those quadrants, and they were all concerning. Yeah, and that was the primary motivator for the city needing to find out, both from a legal standpoint, but also from a moral standpoint, as to what was actually going on here. We can't fix something unless we can clearly define it, and also giving the people that space to be able to safely talk about their experience, be that individually, as a collective. Systems they use is also high on the agenda for the city. I think one of the key things that's changed is people now understand that their heads aren't on the chopping block. It is becoming the norm to speak about our experience and to share our concerns and to talk about our feelings. And it hasn't been that way for a very long time. Whereas now we're seeing, slowly seeing that trust being reformed. People can see now what they say is being talked about, actions are starting to happen, and they can discuss their feelings in a safe space, and it won't be hidden. People won't be chastised or blamed for it. They won't be reprimanded for saying how they feel and how difficult it is for them. The difference between those two pulses is we had a 50% uptake in people actually partaking in them. So that's a great, huge quantitative change that we can see in there. What we're also noticing is people are more willing to speak up. And that's not always a good, easy thing to hear, to be honest with you. It can certainly take its toll when you have to go to all of them. And when you're hearing about people's experience at work, it can be emotionally draining and it can be difficult to hear, especially if you relate to these people and you like the people. But it's necessary. It's necessary. And people are really starting to come to terms with the fact that it is a safe space for them to be able to talk about those things. What this process is slowly, I hope and I believe, starting to do is starting to make a clear distinction between what is in their control and what isn't in their control, and therefore how they can begin to start to regain some of their autonomy, some of their self-control, and work on those areas as well. I think this is different because we've got high frequency and we've got a continuous point of contact or a continuous touch points. Obviously the city needs to engage in their own touch points as well, but every 6 weeks we're having a survey and we're having debrief sessions. We're having the same people come in, so we get to build that familiarity. We've got facilitators which work with particular teams within the organisation, so the same people are seeing the same facilitators, and they're getting to build that relationship as well. For me, relationships are one of the cornerstones of trust anyway, as well. If you're getting different people all the time, or it's only happening once every 12 months or 24 months, people aren't getting the opportunity to form those relations and to form that communication bond and, to open up to not just the process, but to the individual.